Hello, everybody. Welcome all to the TacoCast. How's it going? Hello. Guys, we are live. We are here with these wonderful guests. Hello, guys. I know it's been close to, what, 2 months almost? Right?
Actually,
hold on.
it's really hard to find the previous TacoCast.
It's really... Uh-oh. Oh,
You make a list, I guess, a playlist.
Yeah,
make a playlist.
I'm going to make a playlist. Just haven't had time. Let's quickly say hello to people here who are waiting for the TacoCast. Let's go ahead. Hello, everybody. How's it going? I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody had a good holiday. Hello to the core group. How's it going? We have CC Gaming, we have Venge, we have Chadley, and we have two wonderful guests that are joining us today. We have Mama Remy and Ball and Chain. Guys, welcome to the TacoCast. So,
Thank you.
normally, guys, how we do this is if you have any questions for us, please ping one of us and we will look at your question and then we will add it to our sheet here that we have and we're looking at. Other than that, most of us will answer your questions on the actual stream itself. So we will type it out. We'll say hi on there because there's too many and there's conversation happening. That way we're not so rude. Okay, everyone set? We're good? All right, let's go ahead and start off as we usually do with the first question. How's everyone been since the holidays, and what games have you been playing off stream for your own free time? So let's start off with Mama Remy.
Well, I like indie games, so I've been playing Evelyn and Evelyn 2 because I was shut in for the holidays because everyone was sick and there was snow, so it's like, no, stay away. And then, I know I'm gonna get a lot of crap for this, but I really like Mass Effect Andromeda, so I was trying to finish playing that, and I started the game up, and it's like, I have no knowledge of this game, so I'm gonna have to start over.
Boom, right? How about you,
Yeah.
Colin?
Well, holidays were good. Holidays were very good. Went on a cruise, which most of you knew.
Ooh,
Yeah, the whole family. We went on a Disney cruise. Highly recommend it.
nice.
And then as far as the games I've been playing, I've just been playing like Animal Crossing and the New Leaf one. And let's see, that's about it really. Most of the gaming that I do, I actually stream. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Corey, what about you, my friend?
My holidays were good, you know, everything's been busy and all that good stuff, but good, you know. And what I've been playing off stream, I've been playing a lot of New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. If we could make that title just a little longer, that'd be great. Some Diablo. I still been playing Diablo on the Switch a lot off stream. That's my main stuff.
Nice. And Venge, what about you, my friend?
All right, yeah, things have been pretty good. I mean, like the holidays was really nice. You know, got a chance to chill with my family. I haven't been huge on the Super Smash Bros, but I have been doing a lot the previous year with Wii U. But when Ultimate came out, you know, it was a big struggle. But you know, I just decided to play. I have a Smash Bros buddy. One of my mods by the name of Android21, extremely skilled player, gives me my extra intake of salt. And you know, it's a lot of fun playing with her. She's very good at the game, and it helped me a lot. And you know, I'm just really enjoying the game. As far as you know, everything else, you already know the news about me getting down with the sickness, you know, Limp Bizkit. So, I mean, it's all good. Or was that Papa Roach? It was
No, that's Disturbed.
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 Correct.
really? I'm glad I asked because it's been a long time since I heard it anyway. So
Hey, that's okay.
My L already, but
That's
it's
okay.
all good. You know, I'm just glad that I'm finally getting over this thing, and I'll be finishing it off Monday.
GG, nice. I'm happy to hear that. Chadley, what about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, holidays are good. Last couple years, I've been able to have the ability to take off like the whole week between Christmas and New Year's, so
Ooh,
I've
nice.
been being able to enjoy that with spending time with my family and everything. But as you guys know, like most of the time I play gaming and stuff is usually on stream. But on occasion, I'll play games with Emma or some of the other kids off stream, mainly Smash Ultimate off stream.
Yeah.
And Emma and I started to try to play through Super Paper Mario a little bit. And there was another one. Mainly it's just those two that I can think of right now. But everything else, you guys know, like most of my gaming and stuff I just do online. So when I'm streaming, so.
Nice,
but
nice.
all is good. All is good.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been. You know what? I've been really concentrated on just kind of off stream. I've been running a little bit of Resident Evil 2, but the original one, and I've been playing a lot of Red Dead. I can't put that down. Yeah, so I've been playing a lot of that. But other than that, there's nothing really like just like Ballin. Everything I play on stream, whatever I get, I try to play it on there. Holidays were really good. They treated us well. We didn't get any snow, so I was happy about that up until after the holidays. So I mean, now we're stumped with tons of snow. We have lots of snow now. You know.
Yep.
Same here.
What are you gonna do? All right, guys, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear everybody had a good holiday. I'm glad to hear you guys are having a heck of a lot of fun with new games and old games. So that's great. All right, let's get down to the dirtiness now. We got a lot to talk about. All right, so Nintendo has announced Metroid Prime 4 development was put to a halt and was given back to the original devs of first Metroid Prime. So what are your thoughts on this? And do you think this would put a huge delay on release time for this game? So let's start off with Remy. What are your thoughts on all this?
Okay, first off, I've never played Metroid Prime. So, judge me all you want, but if you love me, you'll come tell me what you love about Metroid Prime and try to convince me to play it. So, everybody. But as far as the fact that Nintendo actually released something back to the original developer, so it's actually going back to its roots, means that either they don't like the project, they don't have nothing to do with it, or the game means so much to so many people that they're afraid of messing it up and they want it to go back to its roots.
Yep,
it's true.
That's the only thing I can think about it.
Hey, that's good input. Ballin, what about you?
Fallout 76.
That's
my first thought. I think that they are scared of that, and they don't want to release a product that is going to be a major failure, which I'm sure probably all of you thought of the same thing whenever you saw a delay. So I think it probably was a good idea on their part to push it back until their product is ready. I don't think it's going to affect very much as far as like you know, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what they end up doing. But I think that it's probably a good idea to push it back at least. But so have they said that they're not going to release it at all, or what did they say?
No, it's just they just delayed it.
They just delayed it.
Technically, they're restarting the development. They scrapped everything.
Yeah.
And they gave it, but we don't know when they were going to release it to begin. We had no date on it anyway. They could have been planning to release it 6 years down the line for all we know.
Right. Well, I mean,
I can't believe they scrapped everything. That means like,
yeah, it must have been really bad and buggy. And you know, honestly, like as somebody who does, who's a developer, just like Corey understands this too, and Tylee understands this too. Like as a developer, you know that you don't want to release something if you don't have that skeleton to work off of. Then you obviously have to scrap it and go from the beginning. So that's my thoughts.
All right, Corey, what are your thoughts on this?
So honestly, I'm just gonna say I think it's a good thing. Technically, it's not back to the original developers; it's back to the original studio. I know this is semantics, don't get me wrong, but it's not exactly the same people that actually developed it. But being that it's the same studio, I have some faith in it. But it's a good thing, I think, because I think it's not quite that they don't care or that they thought it was so bad. I think it's that they were so concerned with delivering a product that is on par with the original 3 games that, and they felt they couldn't do that. So they said, well, let's give it to somebody we know can do that.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a good thing. You know, let it delay. That's okay. You know, I'm a little bummed by that. But let them delay it. Let them put it back later. Let it be a better game than it was going to be. So to me, it's like it's only a good thing in my eyes.
Yeah, for sure. Benj, what about you, my friend?
Actually, it was a very smart move in regards to Nintendo, because when you look at previous events that took place that's that's similar to what Nintendo is going through, I mean, the backlash was tremendous. I mean, from the first release of DMC when Capcom outsourced it to Ninja Theory, and it really did the game when Ninja Theory worked on it. It was like the game really kind of like upset the culture that Capcom has built, because the community was so against the design of that character and even his antics in the reveal at E3. So that was a huge flop even when they made the corrections. And then you look at Final Fantasy, what was that? Final Fantasy 13. You know, how long it took for them to get that game together, the changes it went through, it went bad. Then you have Final Fantasy 7, which was the remake.
Mm-hmm.
And originally, Final Fantasy 7 was supposed to be the production was supposed to be done by CyberConnect 2. And CyberConnect 2 never did anything related to Square Enix products. And they was well known for like anime games like the Naruto Ninja Storm series.
Mm-hmm.
They're really good at production. So I feel like that's one of the reasons why, like presentation. I feel like that's one of the big reasons why Square Enix said, hey, we would like for you guys to go in and help us, you know, create a strong presentation for it, which they did, but in time, they didn't like the direction that CyberConnect 2 was going, so they decided to scrap it. But the problem was they waited till they was already kind of like right into it, because they showed gameplay. So that was a big problem there. And then you look at Nintendo, they never showed gameplay, so that helped them out a lot. Then there was also, you know, everyone was hoping that Retro was working on it anyway, so imagine if they released the game and it turned out to be a flop and it wasn't made by Retro. That'll just be an even bigger problem for Nintendo. And like, Nintendo wants to make sure that the culture that they established over decades is not set back in some kind of way. So
Yeah.
it want to maintain that flow.
Yeah, for sure. Charlie, what about you, buddy?
Yeah, I definitely agree that it was a good decision on Nintendo's part. One thing that I heard, and I can't remember who said this, they were talking about how they knew a little bit more about the insides of what was going on behind the scenes. Nintendo, I think, was using this as like from what the guy said, was that they were using it as an experiment, because there's a lot of development companies now that are taking the approach of piecemealing the project out.
Mm-hmm.
So they go to different companies and they give each company like a certain section or a certain thing for the game. Like maybe one person or one team might be working on the models, another one is working on sound, another one's working on the engine for the game, all that kind of stuff. And if that's what they were doing, it almost makes it seem like that didn't work the way that Nintendo was hoping it would work, or at least not returning the kind of quality that they would have gotten if they would have just gone with one team that was invested in the project, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it is a good idea that they're bringing Retro Studios, and like Corey said, that not all the same developers are there anymore that would have worked on the original games, but Retro, yeah, they're a good company. They give good quality work, you know. So, and the fact that someone from Nintendo is going to be working with them.
Yeah.
It's not like they're just giving the project to Retro and just saying, here you go. Like, they're actually going to be working very closely to the project, because they don't want whatever happened prior. They don't want that to happen again.
Yeah.
They've already wasted enough time as it is. I mean, they know they've got people waiting on this, but the announcement that they did, I feel, is very, very smart on their part. People
Yeah.
are going to get upset, and there's going to be some people that just don't understand why there's going to be this delay. But like Ballin said, like, I'm a developer, so I understand when something goes wrong. you don't want to like mess it up. Yeah, you don't want to mess it up. You don't want to be giving people false hope. And then Metroid Prime is like a very good series.
Yeah.
And it's been very highly acclaimed for the gameplay and everything like that. And to have a fourth game come out that would just be crap would ruin the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
Hasn't stopped
I'm
other
all
franchises before, though.
No.
No.
They want to stop this from happening.
Yeah.
And this is what I posted on Twitter, and I said that basically there's a lot of development companies that can learn from this.
Yeah.
Like Nintendo is showing that they're vulnerable right now, and they're saying that, hey, sorry, it's going to be delayed, but hopefully you understand. And then in the end, we're going to end up with something better than what we would have had if we would have stayed the course that we were on.
Yep.
Fallout 76 could have easily been better if they would have just stepped back, you know, instead of trying to.
We have to say.
Yeah, and I think I referenced it as development companies that do that stuff. It's like release and fix later. That's their mentality. Like, I want to release it now so we can get it in people's hands, and then fix it later. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you could say hi. Yeah,
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, and you're
Get that
ruining
bomb out of the screen.
So yeah, that's what I agree with everybody pretty much.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It was definitely a good thing. So
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's definitely a good thing. I mean, we're having too many of these, big developers who think, hey, we're so big, we can get away with this whole, let's release a game now and fix it after. And it's not how it works. It doesn't work anyway like that anymore like that. Like, nobody wants to wait for a broken game. They want a good game. They want something that they're going to be able to play with. And then they turn around and just say, oh, we're sorry. Let's make it up to you with credit. Let's make it up to you with this, And it's not like that anymore, And this is where Nintendo, I love that they did this. They turned around and said, okay, look, what we got was crap. We want quality for our guys, like for all our people. So let's go ahead and restart this. And then, apologies to everybody. So it was good. It's a good, I definitely agree. It's a good move. I've never played Metroid Prime. I don't know what they're all about.
I'm not the only one!
Yeah. I don't know what they're all about. So it would be nice to be able to jump into them and then give it a try and go from there. But yeah.
sounds like two people need to get the trilogy.
I think so.
Maybe we can all help them get the trilogy.
I don't know, Charlie. You're making me want to play Mega Man. I've never played Mega Man either.
Mega
Man's fun too. It's rough. Mega Man's rough, but
the gaming community that I love, and I know it has nothing to do with the question, but it's the fact that you watch other gamers play other games that you not like Metroid Prime. So if someone else is like, yeah, it's a really good game, you should try it. Well, then they convince you, and then you try it, and then you love it, and then.
mm-hmm.
Yep. By the way, guys, sorry if you guys are getting lag on your end or frame drops. We're having some issues. I don't know what's going on, but hopefully it stays stable enough that the stream doesn't die. If it dies, just hold tight. Okay, so let's go ahead. Right, let's keep moving on, talking about Nintendo and different rumors and different things that are happening. There was a rumor that another Switch was supposed to come out, a more powerful one, even a Switch Mini that was supposed to be better in price. But here's what's happened. Nintendo has come out to say no Nintendo Switch Pro was in the works or other successors. The president said, it is extremely ambitious but worthwhile achievement. So we have maintained this goal, which is to sell what they're selling now. And Nintendo Switch is our primary selling objective. We are not considering any successors or price cut at this time. So what are your thoughts on this? And what do you guys think? Are they doing the right move by doing this? Let's start with Remy.
there's no successor coming, which means that someone that is late to the party can afford a Switch because it's the same price, which means that I can just wait for it to go on sale, which means it's not going to turn around in 2 months, have like 2.0 or 5.0 come out that's like 10 times better than what I'm already going to, you know, buy. So I know what I'm getting, and I can catch up and not be like, oh, well, you've got the 2.0, you should get, because Xbox does that all the time. Like you get like the Xbox One, and then the Xbox Slim, the Xbox One Slim came out after that. So my oldest has the slow one, and then my husband has the new one, and his will run PUBG a lot better than what hers will. Well, she can't play it because she's got the older model, even though it's still an Xbox One. They should both be able to play it. Why can't they? So the fact that Nintendo Switch is basically going, nope, this is what we have, we're staying with this. If, you know, we're not doing anything else other than this because this works, good, because that means that I can come in on the scene myself. So I'm happy.
GG, right? What about you,
yeah,
Colin?
GG.
What are your thoughts?
GG Nintendo.
I feel the same exact way. I'm really glad, especially since we bought a second Switch. So we're a 2-Switch household. Yeah. I really don't want to buy a third one. But, you know, I really think that the Switch is such a good console so far, and I feel like they can use what they have and build off of what they have. So I didn't really see a second one coming out quite yet. It's too new. And then the price is right. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't think it's too bad compared to other systems for what you're getting, because you're getting a console that is allowing you to play at home or play wherever you want. I mean, you're getting a lot for what you pay for. So I'm pretty happy with the Switch. This is definitely a console that I've played more than any other console, for sure. Like, our family clocks so many hours into the Switch.
No,
so
for
it's
sure.
fine that we even bought two, because it's worthwhile to me, because I feel like we've put enough hours into our gameplay that it's like, all right, well, I can definitely see getting a second one for Smash, to play Smash Online with everybody, you know? So I think it was a good call on their part, because I think there's probably a lot of little secrets that they have hiding in the Switch as well, because it's just such a good system. So
Yep. What about you, Corey? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, there was already a Switch revision, but it wasn't a major hardware revision. It was a processor revision. But will they come out with a Pro? No, not anytime soon. That's silly. There's nothing that Nintendo wants to do to make a Pro console. You know, like that's not Nintendo style. Would there be advantage to making a Switch with, you know, 128 gig instead of 32 gigs or something? Sure. Is Nintendo going to do it at this point? I don't see it. Other than something like that, I don't see the advantage to another, you know, like a major another version of the Switch. People keep talking about, you know, like a dockless Switch or something. Well, they could just sell it without a dock. You don't need to make a revision and take out the USB-C or something like that. So that doesn't make any sense to worry about that, you know. So I don't think, I'm with Ballin and all, you know, that like it's at the right price point. And it's already the right size. There's mini. Why would you make it any smaller? It's already, you know, like this. And
people wouldn't even hold it.
Look, I've got a 3DS right here. Why do I need to get a Switch 3DS?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, But the only thing I will say in contrary to that is that PR teams always deny these things. They. I know, Chadley. Woo!
I know, right? Everyone hashtag anonymous. I don't know who sent the donation, but thank you very much. I super appreciate that.
Nice.
And also, thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the Taco team. Welcome to the family. All right, go ahead. Sorry, Corey.
No, it's all right. What was I saying though? I don't know. It's
PR.
I don't see it. Oh, PR always denies these things.
Yep.
First of all, so they would be lying, but they almost always deny it. Even if they were working on something, they could be lying and telling us that. But I just don't see it. I don't see a point to making a new revision right now, like a major revision.
Yeah.
So long story short, I agree, and I think that it's a good choice not to go and make another hardware revision right now or something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah.
Venge, what do you think, buddy?
You know what? It'd be great if they don't, because honestly, if the Switch has done so well, which it has been as of last year, 2018, you're telling me the Switch literally beat out all the other consoles in terms of sales, which is a massive achievement when you look at their track record.
Yep.
I mean, this was like a big turnaround for them, so it's really important for them to try to keep that momentum going, and they can mess up that momentum by wasting resources that could be used to further the success of the Switch. So I feel like it's really to their advantage if they like continue focusing on the Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chadley, what do you think, buddy?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't think there's going to be a revision that comes out anytime soon. The revision I see coming is the next thing.
Yeah.
Like Nintendo's not gonna. Yeah, I mean they did it with the 3DS. I mean, yeah, they come out with a different 3DS every 3 months, you know, but not anymore because they seem to be kind of focusing more on the Switch, more so than the 3DS, and more so the fact that they come out with the clamshell version of the 2DS because they realize that a lot of people just don't care about the 3D feature as much as there's like, yeah, it was a nice little gimmick and everybody loved it for when it first came out, and then they noticed how many people bought those square 2DSs, so it made sense to come out with a 2DS that was basically the clamshell, no 3D, and they're selling them like crazy. I mean, but with the Switch, it's a little bit of a different kind of thing because 3DS is what, 150?
Mm-hmm.
The
Something
2DS,
like that, yeah.
and then the 2DS is like 100. Well, the clamshell 2DS I think is like 130, and then the regular 2DS is 99. So it's like that's the perfect price point. Where if you come out with a different one, the hardware is no different. It's just the outside looks different.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then sometimes they're packed in with games and all that kind of stuff. But with the Switch, it's a little different because when you start changing hardware, then the price is going to change drastically.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not going to want to. They're not going to want to make it more. They're not going to want it to cost more because they know people are just going to. They're going to really want to see, is it a benefit to buy that? Like,
Yeah. And realistically,
So-
a lot of the rumors mainly started because I know a lot of devs have been complaining, saying that they would be able to push more on the Switch in sense of frames and stuff like that if it had more RAM, if it had more,
All the frames.
you know. But that, you know, at the end of the day, you have to think that that's what people want for the PlayStation. That's what people want for the Xbox, because those are stay at home on your table type systems. Whereas the Switch, we don't really look, because I don't really look at the Switch and saying, oh man, I'm only getting 30 frames a second. I'm looking at, oh man, I still have battery life after playing Legend of Zelda. You know, that's what I'm.
true.
You know, I'm not looking at the frames at that point. I'm looking at the game because that's what I'm taking around. I mean, when we all went to PAX, you're not gonna tell me none of you brought your Switch with you, right?
So many
I mean,
Switches.
do you remember Dave
There
and
were
Buster's?
so many
All right.
We were on the floor playing Smash Bros.
So
We're
that's
like
like
little kids.
exactly. So,
It's amazing.
that's the perfect example. I mean, we're not worried for the Switch. We're not worried about frames. Yeah, okay, 1080p. Whoa, okay. But we're more worried about whether the game is good and what we have to take portability wise to wherever. So I think I agree with all of you. I think at this point in time, there's no reason for them to revise the Switch. And if they're gonna do anything, they might as well just build a new console. Just don't call it Switch 2.
yeah.
No, they can call it the Switch U Deluxe.
The Switch U Deluxe. All right, let's get to the I don't even know what to call it anymore. Like, so PlayStation Classic has been released. If everybody remembers, the PlayStation Classic is a little
Nobody
mini,
remembers the PlayStation
the little
Classic.
mini thing they brought out for the PlayStation. It hasn't been doing well. We all know this. And it's done so bad that the price has actually dropped, and it's only been out for what, maybe 2-3 months? 2 months?
December? Yeah.
December, so a month and a half. So it's gone from
Yeah, it was-
99. It's gone down from 99 USD and 129 Canadian to $54 US and $76 Canadian. That's a massive drop for a console. What are your thoughts, and why do you think this has happened? Remy, what are your thoughts on this?
Did you see the utter disgrace of games that was listed on that thing? And I'm gonna call it a thing because it's not a console. It's, I mean, seriously, did anybody play any of those games on that thing?
Final Fantasy VII.
Final Fantasy.
Okay, well, besides
No.
like one or two like
Siphon
good
filter.
games, that
Metal
Gear
those are
Solid.
the only selling
Resident
points
Evil.
are those one or two good games. The
Yeah.
rest of it is total utter crap. Those are not the games that people came and like
Exactly.
played growing up. Those are not the trilogies or the franchises that the people loved. They should have put better games on there, and people would have bought this because apparently right now the retro games, the older games are in. So it's cool to be retro. So they're trying to like capture that. But they're doing it with the wrong games.
Mhm.
And while they're doing it with the wrong games, sales are going to go down. They need to listen to the people and find out what games are the most popular. I mean, they could probably go to ROM sites to see which ones are being downloaded the most. Oops, sorry, I didn't say that. But, and then put those on the things. Because this is not a console. This is a thing.
It's a thing.
It's a
It's a thing.
It's true. Guys, please hashtag Dark Pit's husband for the $1 donation. Thank you very much, my friend. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Boy, you got really passionate. I like that. Holly, please go ahead. What's your input on this?
So, I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, there were a couple of good titles on there, I guess. I didn't really play that many PlayStation games, to be honest, so I wasn't even interested in buying it. But if I remember right, I think it wasn't... Okay, that thing, as you said.
Everyone's going to call it a thing now.
Yeah.
The quality of it was poor as well, if I remember right. I think so. You're delivering a product that's not 100%. It's gonna get around, you know. It's got some issues, and then there could have been more games on it that people would actually try and get. You know, they would get it for it. But I don't know. To me, I'm like, if I plug this thing into my TV, is it gonna do what all those other little things that you buy at like the mall that screw up your TV? Like, is that what's gonna happen? You know, it just seems like the hardware is just not there for it. But you know, like I said, I didn't play very much in the way of PlayStation. I played mostly Nintendo. I was a Nintendo family. I wasn't really all that interested in it. But we do have the SNES Classic and the NES Classic. So
You know the good ones, yeah.
Making it rain.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you, Dark Pit. Again, everybody, hashtag Dark Pit's husband in the chat for the $1.99 donation. Thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate that. Super awesome. Making it rain, he says. Corey, what are your thoughts, my friend?
Well, we had a discussion about the PlayStation Classic on our last one.
Yes.
Because it was getting ready to come out. I didn't have a lot of good stuff to say about it before. But I have a lot less good to say about it and a lot more bad to say about it now.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, they first of all took a crappy little single board computer, took an open source emulator from the internet, did not configure it correctly, and put absolutely zero security on it. Now, top all that off with the fact that the choice of games were pretty mediocre. We'll call it mediocre at best. I won't even say it's trash. We'll call it mediocre at best, right? The PlayStation 1 for me was an RPG powerhouse. I mean, I've got physical copies of several really good RPGs still on PlayStation 1. None of them are there. None of those are there. Okay, whatever. They put no security. They took a crappy emulator and configured it to PAL emulation. Now, that meant games did not run properly because they weren't using PAL versions, and they weren't most of the time there isn't much of a difference in PAL TVs now anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So PAL TVs used to run at a different frame rate, a different refresh rate than NTSC TVs.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why it looks crappy when you run it by default. But people found out that you can plug a keyboard into the second controller spot, hit escape, and configure it yourself. Because, again, unconfigured, it's not configured, there's no security, and it's an open source emulator.
Well, I guess
I
you
don't even
could,
know what
you
else
know,
to say.
you could take all the games off and put your own games on, and then I guess
Well,
it would be
immediately
better
people
then.
found very, very easy ways to put games on it, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. No, for sure.
So, yeah, that's it. That's all I got to say.
Benj, what about you, buddy? What do you got to say, my
It
friend?
upsets me.
That thing,
Oh,
trash.
Mama Veg.
My money, you ain't getting it.
Right?
I don't even
Not a
care if
chance.
they make that $1, okay? I
Nah.
still wouldn't want it.
I got 2 Raspberry Pis.
Yeah.
There you go.
I still wouldn't. It's just a waste. I mean, like, you guys brought up all you. I mean, you guys had the juice on that one. You took all the solid points and put it together in a nice, neatly shaped package, and it's not even a neat shape that I'm making right now. So I mean,
Well, neither is the package.
Trash.
Either, so.
trash. They want these dollars? Nah, yeah, screw it.
Yeah, nobody here was hoping to get sponsored by Sony for one.
Oops, there goes the sponsor.
Yeah.
Hashtag sponsorless.
Right. Chadley, what are your thoughts, my friend?
Yeah, I was actually one of the few that was probably excited for this when it was first announced because I never really played PlayStation at all. So, yeah, I was excited. There was a few games on it that I was like, oh, those would be pretty cool to play through. I've never played them before. The only game that I really remember playing was the Super Puzzle Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
That one I always had a real fun time playing with my friends and such. So I was like, oh, cool. Then I'll be able to play it again. Even though there is a HD one on PlayStation 3, I guess, or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't own any of the PlayStations or anything like that. So I was excited to possibly grab it and try it out and stuff. And then of course we see what happened to it. And now I'm not really interested in buying it anymore. Even it doesn't matter. Like Ben said, it doesn't matter how low they drop the price. I'll spend the extra money just to get the original PlayStation if I have to.
Yeah.
And just buy the physical games, and it'll run better.
Yep.
And I don't. Yeah. So
Yep.
not much else I can say because, like I said, we've talked about this before, and
Yep,
nothing's changed.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's funny
It's
talking
not
about
in a
this.
good way.
Exactly. Talking about this. You know, people have been making videos on other, like, basically you can build yours with Raspberry Pi, and there are people who will make you a PlayStation cover to make it look like it. One guy even took the old PlayStation, like the PS,
Yep.
and then like rewired it and everything to make it work with the Raspberry the way the PlayStation's been made. And then he goes, "Oh, I'll send you my file so you guys can have the way I have the menu, and it works better. You got DualShock." Everything's working legit. I mean, and
who needs that?
I know. And then he was like, literally, you can just restart everything from scratch. And people are spending $80 in Canadian. Some people are just spending like 100 with taxes in. That's better than 129 that they were sending. You know. But it's sad. It's sad that PlayStation rushed this out. It's sad that they didn't put any thought to it. I mean, what else can we say, right? Sorry,
Yeah.
PlayStation.
Yep.
No, I'm not going to bed yet.
You might as well come make an appearance. Everyone else has.
But you know, and you hit the nail right on the head there.
Yeah.
They really rushed it 100%. They
Yeah.
rushed out to compete.
Hello.
That's
Hello.
all they did. Hey.
Hello.
Well, Dryden appearance for those who don't know. This is my husband.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was hoping it wasn't a random stranger put his arm around.
Yeah, that
Right.
everybody.
Have a good night.
But yeah, they rushed it out to compete with the SNES Classic and all, and get that out for the holidays, and that was their downfall with it, is that they rushed it out so much.
Yep. All right. Well, let's see. Let's move back to Nintendo. Sorry, after talking about poor PlayStation.
What more Nintendo?
I know. More Nintendo. I know. So Nintendo is closing the Wii Shop January 30th. So, fact, it's been open for 12 years. I didn't even know that. That blew my mind. Will this impact Nintendo in any way? Why or why not? And apparently, you can't even purchase more points now. So, let's say you want a game now, you can't even purchase the points anymore. That's deactivated. Whatever points you have now, you have to spend before the 30th.
They ended that a while ago.
Because I bought points the other day for it.
Did you? 'Cause
Yeah.
They said a while back that they were ending the ability to buy points.
Oh, Dark Pit,
6
thank
months
you.
beforehand or something.
Right? Everyone hashtag Dark Pit for the $5 donation. Thank you, buddy. Really appreciate that. But yeah, it was working fine. Now I guess they completely shut it down now. So yeah, do you think this is gonna impact Nintendo in any way, shape, or form, or this is for the good? Let's start with Remy.
I mean, honestly, it might be for the good. Now, you're going to have some people that think that's like the greatest console ever,
Mhm.
and they're going to be like devastated by it. Like, I know my youngest is going to be completely devastated by the fact that there's going to be no longer any more Wii games come out.
Just Dance.
Just Dance.
Exactly. That's what he does all the time. He's a small boy that needs something to do, and the Wii gives him something to jump up and run around and do and be active with. And it's like, yes, get your pent up frustration over there. So the fact that there's not going to be any more games for it, he might get bored of it and move on, and I'm gonna have to find something else for him to do console wise. But otherwise, how long has the Wii been out? How long has there only been like 1 or 2 games come out on it? You know, it's kind of like Microsoft when they go from one version of OS to another, and then they stop, you know, having support for it. It's like, it's got to die sometime.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, actually, Mini Baja's the same way. He runs in place when he plays games. Anybody who is a Snapchat friend of our family knows this. They have seen him run in place while he plays games, so I understand that. But you know, I think it's probably, it has to do on the server side for them. They want to free some stuff up, are ready to move on, and change is inevitable. And I think that it's just it's probably on their end. It's a lot cheaper, and I don't think it's going to make a huge impact for too many people, because I think everybody, well, most people, I should say, a majority of people have moved on as well. And you know, who knows, maybe that'll free up some stuff for the Switch, and we'll see more things on the Switch. And they could even move that stuff over to the Switch anyway. And you know, yeah, some people don't have a Switch, but get with the times.
Fight words.
Oh boy.
I don't have one yet.
You need to get one. Come join.
I know.
Come to the dock side.
Come to the dark side. Corey, what are your thoughts, buddy?
Well, so to answer the first question, will it impact Nintendo? I mean, it absolutely will. Will it impact them very much? No, I mean, not that much, probably. The thing is, when you look at it, it's a business, right? It costs money to run the servers that maintain the shop, and for the people to maintain the shop. Whether it's one server, whether it's 30 servers, does not matter. It costs money. And the fact that they've been supporting this for the last 12 years while the console's lifespan is over, essentially, save for a few third-party games, ending its shop isn't like the end of the world. It's not. It's definitely gonna. Will it lose them money? It'll maybe lose them money on a few sales for people here and there, but probably not to make up the difference between, you know, what it costs them to run it. I mean, eventually they have to end it, you know. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's just, again, change is inevitable. I think it's going to happen, and that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No, for sure. Venge, what are your thoughts, buddy?
If anything, I'm more impressed with the fact that it was up for that long. I mean, that's just amazing. Like, almost, isn't it like over a decade that thing?
12 years.
That's freaking insane. I mean, like, you even look at the PlayStation 3 and how long they had their service up and running for, and that was pretty solid as well. But in terms of that really impacting Nintendo, nah, I mean, it wouldn't even put a dent in them. I mean, because Baller just brought up a good point. Like all the games that was available for the Wii, they can just simply move it over to the Switch. I mean, it's not that big a deal. And to be honest, I really hope they do, because I want Chrono Trigger so bad, and it was only available on the Wii U shop. So if they did that, hey, I'd be a happy camper.
Right, exactly. I would be happy with those games coming to the Switch anyway. I really want a lot of those games on Switch because I want to be able to carry them with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Chadley, what do you think, buddy?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I agree. It's not going to impact Nintendo at all, pretty much. I mean, it's inevitable that a system will have to get shut down. It's just the nature of the internet nowadays. When a system gets antiquated and gets outdated, it costs more to run it than it does to keep it. And because of the fact that they can't make revenue on it anymore because they closed down the way to actually purchase games on the system, like, they're not making anything on it now. Like, if anything, they're just keeping it up as a way to have it as a backup for people that had purchased games previously. Which brings up a good point. There's a lot of games on the Wii that are digital only. not thinking of Virtual Console, because the Virtual Console games, put those aside, because you can put that on you can put that anywhere. You can put Nintendo games anywhere. You can put, if Sega, and obviously Sega has a new strategy anyway. They're like, hey, Nintendo's not going to have an eShop, or they're not going to have a Virtual Console on the Switch. Well, fine. We'll find somebody that wants to create the games physically, so we can just start pushing out our own stuff, which is what they're doing. I mean, they have the Sega Ages collection and all that kind of stuff that they're bringing out. They're creating their own Virtual Console type brand of ways to get their games out, because obviously you guys remember that the Wii part of Virtual Console had Sega Genesis, or they had Sega games, they had arcade games, they had TurboGrafx, Neo Geo, TurboGrafx. Like, they had all these companies like partnering with Nintendo to be able to bring their games to the Virtual Console. But yes, Corey said it. The WiiWare games, there's nowhere else you can get those games. And there are some WiiWare. Most of the WiiWare is just trash. I mean, most of those games are just garbage. And yes, if they go away, nobody's going to miss them. But there are some games that were good. I mean, there were some companies that was their cheap way of introducing their games. Like some indie developers, that's where they started. And there's no way to play those games now, because once that shuts down, if you don't actually... So here's going to be a public service announcement for everybody that's watching, because if you have a Wii and you have games that you purchased previously, go download them before Wednesday. Because if you don't download them now by Wednesday, you won't be able to get them when the shop shuts down. So there's your PSA for today.
Boom, there you go. There you go. No, and I totally agree with you guys. It's something, I don't think it'll be like massively change, you know, it's gonna change the world type thing if they did that. It is I'm kind of surprised that they haven't done it sooner, like, you know, Venge said. So, but yeah, it's sad because, you know, there are some games I still wanted to grab from there. Unfortunately, I won't be able to grab anymore, so, because I don't have any points anyways. But oh well, I mean, hopefully this frees up some servers. I hope they weren't using too many servers up, but hopefully they're moving on to actually having servers for their Switch. I mean, we need that. Hello, Nintendo, hurry up. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? That's how it is. That's how change works. Everything goes down, but the new stuff come up. Well, moving on. So this is more of a video game question. We talked about this last month, but now it is out.
About video games here?
Here we go. Yeah, I know, right? Resident Evil 2 is out now. Have you played it? And what are your first impressions of it? I know a lot of you probably haven't touched it yet. I'm probably the only one who's touched it. But I know also a lot of you have watched streams, people streaming it. So, yeah, now that it's knowing that it's a remake, what are your thoughts on it? Remy, have you heard of the game? Have you played the game? Have you seen the stream of the game?
Honestly, this is the question on this list that I've like dreading answering the most, because it's like, well, do I answer honestly or do I answer like just kind of like deflect it? So I think I'll answer like just honestly, just outpour of like the support of everyone. I have PTSD, so I cannot play anything like horror or jump scare tactics or anything along those lines. So anything along with like Five Nights at Freddy or Resident Evil or anything that's like scary that has that possible like jump scare factor, I can't play, I can't watch, I can't take part of. So I can't answer that question.
Okay.
Because of that.
Balin, what about you?
I'm a big chicken. I don't have PTSD. I'm just a big chicken. So I don't play spooky games, and I also have to think about Mini Baja. So most of the gameplay that I do, I try and keep it like his eyes, you know, something that he could watch. So I have watched Rigo play quite a bit. I've watched other people play it quite a bit, streamed it, but I haven't played any of the Resident Evils myself. But you know, I'm obviously excited to watch other people play it. But I'm not gonna play it because I'll start breaking stuff. Because I'll be like swinging, because I all fight. So I definitely can't play it myself, but I will watch other people play it.
Corey, what about you, my friend?
I was never really into the Resident Evils because they're just clunky and stuff, and I just could not get into them. Watching you play a little bit of it, I realized this one is a lot better looking. but I still just don't think it fits in with the games that I play. So, but it looks really cool. I mean, they did a fantastic job with it and everything. I mean, watching everybody play, I watched you play it, I watched Louis play it, I've seen a bunch of people play it. I'm kind of, quite honestly, a little bit burnt out on seeing everybody play it. Multiple people streaming it multiple times a day. But I mean, it looks really good, and if I were into the Resident Evil games like that, I would absolutely get it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I do have to say though, people streamed a lot worse Pokemon and Smash Bros. Are streaming that a lot worse than what Resident Evil's going.
I've seen you and your brother both stream it multiple times in a day already.
I've only streamed it once, like twice.
You didn't stream it twice in the same day one time?
Nope, never.
Okay, I thought I saw you do it, but anyways, I saw your brother streamed it twice in the same day that you. And I was like,
well, it's fun, so they want to play.
No, it's not like that, but it's just one of those. I'm just like, I watch it all day, every day. Anyway,
Venge, what about you, buddy?
You have to ask. I am so giddy. I'm like a fangirl. I love me some Resident Evil. I basically Resident Evil was my childhood. I played the demo of Resident Evil 2. I have no issue with remakes, especially if they do it properly. Excuse me. See, my excitement is messing me up now. Dude, I am so impressed with the job that they done just by the demo alone. I mean, for them to take it and turn it in, render it into 3D models and everything, full on, and keep it so accurate, but yet so fresh. And they even went out of their way to make a lot of just even doing something that I couldn't believe they did, which was to actually make the deaths more mind-boggling. Because I was thinking that they would censor a lot of stuff, especially with, like the dismemberments and all that kind of stuff. But, oh, Lord have mercy. When I saw that, I was like, I can't believe they actually did it. The game. See, it's really got me messed up. I haven't been coughing all day. The game is absolutely amazing. I wanted to go to your stream so bad, but I was like, I don't got the game yet, and I don't want to get spoiled.
No, for sure, it spoils.
Like, so, it's a sure bet for me. I got to have take my wallet. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. Chadley, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'm enjoying watching people play it. I mean, I've only had experience playing Resident Evil 1 on the GameCube, so with the remaster one that they did for the GameCube back in the day. But I mean, I've watched it a little bit with you playing it and with your brother playing it, and I mean, yeah, it's a gorgeous remake of the original. And from talking to your brother, like, some of the stuff isn't the same from the original game, which I thought was kind of cool that they switched things up a little bit, so it's not like you feel like you're just playing an exact replica of the game.
Yes,
it's more of like a reimagining more so than a remake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying watching it, the little bits here and there. I'm not trying to watch too much of it in case I ever play it myself. But
yep, no, for sure.
So,
as you know, I am a huge Resident Evil fan. I mean, I do.
I think you're making
I like to get S ranking. I like to get the best rankings. I can tell you this game definitely lives up to what they promised, and it wasn't. And the best part is, it was hyped so high that there was a lot of hope, that it maybe was hyped too much. But they definitely, that hype was real, and it definitely lived up to that hype very well. Playing it, they kept it very, very to the story. I love it. You don't feel overpowerful, and overall, the game itself they did a really good job. Naming that, I mean, right now, IGN's getting a lot of hate right now because they faked their review on it and gave it a bad review. Yeah.
Oh, really?
I watched the first review they brought out. So they brought out the first review and they said, oh, the guns sound bad and the game, you can't do headshots on zombies. They're not powerful with the shotgun. And they just like said a bunch of stuff and they gave it an 8. And then people started playing the game and were like, what are they talking about? You can do headshots and blow their heads off, and you can do this and you can do that. All the things they said you couldn't do, you can do. And then turns out they never played the game.
Yeah,
It looks like whoever wrote that
Okay.
article just got fired.
I think so.
Somebody made a comment that I didn't watch the review or anything, but somebody made a comment that the review, like, that they didn't even know about like the second half of the game or something like that. The way that they like worded their review or whatever, basically they didn't even know the second half of the game existed.
Yep.
So
So
I don't know, Vince, how that even happens, but
Oh.
something like, I don't know if they like
Yep.
quit because they thought it was over kind of thing and just kind of went on their review or what. But yeah, the person made a comment saying that like IGN essentially didn't play the second half of the game and
Yep.
essentially didn't acknowledge that the stuff existed beyond where they played, basically.
Yep. Yeah, no, they got caught hard. They got caught hard. And now they did a revise and now they gave it a 9. But it's like, you did the damage. You're done. Yeah, you're done.
It's
I mean,
on the internet. It's
yeah.
never going away.
Now
so.
I don't go off of what IGN says. I never go off of what they say. But it's just funny to know that it happened again with IGN.
Yep.
But yes, if you guys haven't picked it up and you're into scary games, definitely pick that game up. It's gonna be beautiful. It is a beautiful game. It is scary. Be warned, like Remy, hands down, that's one of the games you definitely don't never want to watch because it's very out there. I mean, I'm a coward anyway, so you can't take my word for it. But this one definitely pushes it.
Quick, somebody jump scare him.
Right?
No.
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 Alright.
No.
None
Please.
of you will hear it. It's okay.
Okay,
None of
so
you will hear
Oh
it.
yeah, actually, I've got the stream muted on the other monitor, so I won't. Yeah, go right ahead, guys.
all right. So now that we're done talking about Resident Evil, I mean, just around the corner, my friends, Kingdom Hearts 3 is on its way. Who is buying it? Do you feel the hype has been overly done? And will it live to the expectations of everybody? Let's start with Remy. Go.
Of course, it's gonna live up.
Okay,
to
you talked enough.
expectations
Let's
of
go with.
everybody.
No, I'm kidding. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it's just expectation because it's Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts is like every Disney like fanatic's like dream. It's like
Yep.
it includes all of the Disney characters, and then they get mad because there's a Disney fandom that wasn't included, or a fandom that Disney has their
Is not
greedy little
included.
hands in. And is not included, so they have to make another game to include that one. And then if there's more Disney stuff that comes out that Disney has their fingers in, they have to make another game to include that to keep everyone happy. So there's always going to be Kingdom Hearts. But Kingdom Hearts are amazing.
I'm assuming that was a jump scare donation. I love how you can't hear it.
Yeah, it's the best. The best. See his reaction and not even hear it.
I don't know who that
Because
was.
they said
They
not
get him
to.
again.
Yeah, they got him again.
Oh my god.
Everyone, hashtag CC Gaming and Sir Nigel in the chat.
Oh, Nigel too.
Jeez.
Take it on, man.
Take it off.
Good teamwork, Nigel.
Hey, they hit you with that
Oh, my
wombo
cheeks
combo,
now.
man.
Kingdom Hearts, go.
Tiger got me earlier, so I had to share the. Okay, man, I had to help you out here. Share love.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, jeez. What were we? Where were we?
I think it was my
Kingdom
turn?
Hearts, Remy.
Yeah, it's your turn.
Okay,
Done.
Okay, Ballin, go ahead.
So as far as Kingdom Hearts goes, I have watched so much Kingdom Hearts. I never got a chance to play it because we didn't have it, and I was supposed to get the series from Corey, and we were supposed to both remember that he was supposed to give it to me during PAX, and I would mail it back, but we both forgot until
And yet
today.
here they are.
Until today. So eventually I will play through them. I really do want to play them. And then, obviously I'm gonna avoid Kingdom Hearts 3 like all the time. So I'm sorry if I'm not in your stream during Kingdom Hearts 3, but I don't want spoilers because I really haven't played any of them, and I really want to. It's something that's right up my alley, and I'll really enjoy
awesome.
it.
Yeah.
So I'm really stoked about even getting started on that series. So yeah.
Go ahead, Corey. What about you?
Never heard of it. What game are we talking about?
Hey, Ryan.
Okay. Clearly, I'm a little bit of a fan of You know, little bit of a fan.
Maybe a
A
little.
little bit.
Okay, so I will be picking it up tomorrow night at 9 o'clock Central Time from GameStop. Praying and hoping. I know there's a day one patch, but I'm hoping it's not like giant, so I can actually stream it at like 9:30 maybe. But yeah, I'm super excited for it. I've played through all the games. I still don't know what's going on, but I played through all the games. Nobody really knows what's going on. Anyway, yeah, I'm excited for it. It's storyline aside, the games are fantastic. I've been waiting for, you know, oh god, did they get you again?
Everyone hashtag crispy.
But yeah, I'm super excited. Cannot wait to play. And I respect what you said, Ballin, that you'll be avoiding it. I get it.
Yeah. Sorry. I want to be there, but oh my gosh.
I get it.
I think
Completely.
I think it's worth avoiding.
For sure.
Poor Rigo's gonna die tonight.
I know, right? Venge, what about you, good sir?
To answer your question, the answer to the thing that you was talking about, Corey, yeah, the timeline is so confusing because the games don't necessarily follow the proper
Right.
order. You would think the first game
No, right.
was the beginning. They went ham with it. I was like, I don't even know where to start anymore.
Well, and then they changed things with new games. The games don't matter as much after the new ones. And... Okay,
I don't
sorry.
even know. I gave up trying to figure it out. I really
You just
got
gotta
into
look at the games
series.
as a whole in itself.
The
That's how
story
you gotta play it.
overall is great, but you know, just don't look at it in a linear fashion.
Yeah. If you look at it in a linear fashion, you use yourself in even more. There's probably like one of those YouTube cinematic movies that actually has the proper order if you really want to know, but that's going to be tons of spoilers for you. So I got into it because of Kingdom. I played Kingdom Hearts 1. I really enjoyed it. But then I really got into it with Kingdom Hearts 2 because they put my Final Fantasy 7 and 8 characters in there. I was like, Cloud, Tifa, Aerith, Yuffie. You know, I just went crazy. So I played the heck out of that and enjoyed that too, even though I got stuck because of a lot of grinding. So in terms of 3, I definitely have intentions on it. In terms of the hype, I don't know. It's kind of 50-50 for me because there was like so many delays and everybody was at a specific time and it got delayed again. And it's like there. But the thing is, the fandom for that, I got to salute them because they're very patient and they're finally getting rewarded. And I feel like the hype probably will not die as much, especially if the game delivers. And after watching some of the trailers, I've got to say they are very impressive, especially with that Toy Story one. I was like, wow, I was blown away with the production of that. It's really good.
No, for sure. Chadley, what about you, good sir?
Well, I'll enjoy watching everyone play it. That's what I'll say. Because I don't have any PlayStation consoles yet, so.
You have
But I
an
mean,
Xbox
It's
One?
on Xbox One, I think.
Yes.
It should
I don't
be
have.
on
Well, I don't
Xbox
have
One.
that either. So.
Yay! I have a PS3. I have PS3. That's all I got.
But I mean, I've seen the older games, and they look like super fun. I know I would enjoy playing them. But yeah, I don't see myself playing them anytime soon. So I don't mind getting a.
Go on a shopping trip, Chadley. and we'll go
Yes,
get some
that's
consoles.
true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we could do that.
Yep,
I'll
for
send
sure.
you my PS2. You
I'll
can
send you-
play too.
Yeah, for sure.
So-
I mean, myself, I'm excited for the game. I won't be streaming it. I mean, everyone and their mom is gonna be streaming that game. It's gonna be worse than Resident Evil 2, hands down. Everyone's gonna be streaming that. And I know a lot of people. I know certain people are gonna be streaming that thing like from start to end. I've seen it happen with Pokemon. I've seen it happen with Smash Bros. It'll happen with this one. So it's gonna suck because then I can't enjoy going to anybody's stream because everybody's gonna be playing it, right? I might stream just the beginning, like the whole midnight launch, so people can see what it's all about. Hey, here it is. But that's probably all you'll see. Other than that, though, I'm really excited for the game. Like hands down, I can't wait for it. Has it been overly hyped? That's what scares me. It scared me too with Resident Evil. I mean, it could possibly be overly hyped. Again, you can't go with what people are saying off of it. Like, there's been some reviews already come out and they're saying that it's been overly hyped and it's not what everybody thinks it is. And then there's the opposite, that they're saying that it's overly hyped and it's more than what it deserves. So me personally, I'm excited for it. I think it hasn't been overly hyped yet. I think, like, I want to see it. I can't wait. I'm really excited. Unfortunately though, like, I mean, here in Canada it costs $90, so yeah. Not looking to spend that money right now. Aha, that one didn't get me. You lose.
All the fun.
Everyone hashtag Steffi in the chat.
Oh dang.
Oh dang. But anyways,
Dang,
yeah,
man.
so I'm excited. I am excited
Nice.
to play to play it. And I won't lie, I'll probably end up going to Corey's stream and watching it, or whoever's streaming it, watching it, because it happens. It always happens.
So much love.
Right?
Mhm. I mean,
All
I
right.
said that about Resident Evil, but I still go and watch.
It's true. You go in and watch because you're just too nosy to know what's going on.
We're trying to hang out with cool people. They're always at Rigo's streams. Also, Rigo's a cool people. Okay, jeez, guys.
Rigo's are cool people. Okay, so this next question's a little bit touchy. It can be touchy if you make it touchy. This is more for the two lovely women's we have. So, women in streaming community, what do you guys face? Do you feel that it's a harder environment to jump into when it comes to streaming? And do you feel that maybe people are expecting something else and aren't getting that, or they aren't giving you guys the chance that you deserve as female gamers and streamers? So let's start with Remy. Go ahead.
Well, I can sit here and talk for an hour on that subject, so I won't. I'll just touch base on the key topics. I've been gaming since I was little. My dad got me into gaming. So I don't see myself as a female gamer. I see myself as a gamer, first and foremost. The fact that, and I don't sound bad when I say this, but my gender has nothing to do with it. I'm a gamer, like everybody else. And if anything, I don't feel personally like I get neglected or looked upon negatively because I am a female streamer. If anything, I feel like my personality makes people overlook that. That they come to me and they're like, oh, well, you play games. It's like, oh, that's so cool. They don't have anything to, they're like, oh, Remy plays games. Oh, that's awesome. It has nothing to do with, oh, you're a chick and you play games. It's like, not. Now, my oldest has that a lot. She'll come out from her room while she's playing her Xbox and she'll tell me the countless times that guys are like, wait a minute, you play Fortnite, you play Rainbow Six, you play, all these games. Wait a minute. Do you even know how to play these? So she'll come out and she's like, I'm so frustrated. She's like, what does it have to do with the fact? She's like, I bought a game, I like this game, and I play it. She goes, so what if I have a girl voice or a guy voice, or if I'm a girl or a guy? She's like, I'm a gamer. Why can't people treat me as such? So whereas I know other people feel like that, I am blessed to have a great community that loves me for me, and it has nothing to do with, being a female or not. It's just the fact that I'm Remy and I'm there to entertain them, and I hope that other people and other women that stream feel that as well.
Boom. What about you, Ballin?
Well, I've played same Remy. I've played games since they were a thing. I started with NES, and ever since I've been playing games. So I don't really see myself as different than anyone else. I know I joke a lot about how I'm a terrible gamer, but I'm not too bad in certain games. I'm just terrible in certain other ones. I think all of us are that way, though. I mean, it's just a thing. But I know that, I'm able to handle myself pretty well in male-dominated fields. I've always been in male-dominated fields my whole life, as far as professionally, school-wise, and that sort of thing. I am a developer, and that's a male-dominated field. So I'm used to taking the comments and just kind of grazing over them and just moving on. So it doesn't really bother me that much. But as far as, streaming, it's kind of interesting because there are times where people expect certain things of you as a female as opposed to a male.
I don't know. I get asked to take my shirt off. In the last couple of streams,
actually, you guys get asked that more than we do.
So I'm just saying.
But yeah, I mean, there are some things that do, like, some comments here and there that I get, but I don't let it bother me. I just kind of move on and.
Do you get comments with your husband sitting right next to you?
Yeah, it happens. It happens. But it's whatever. It's gonna happen no matter what. Just as being a woman in general, just walking down the street, you never know what's gonna happen.
They get more mad than what we do.
Yeah. Well, I just basically just move on, and so does he. I mean, we just don't even really care about that. But it just, I think we, of course, just being female in general, the world is a little bit tougher as a girl, but if you are able to navigate it properly, then you can kind of move on from it pretty quickly. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like our community in particular is amazing as far as supporting female streamers. I have yet to see our community just care about that. I mean, we just don't. We have so many amazing, strong female gamers and streamers, and we just don't really have an issue with that. So it really has to do with our little community that I feel so welcomed, and I don't feel threatened, so.
That's what's up.
That's for sure. You guys want to put some input in this, or you think?
I mean, I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think we all probably have valuable input. I'm not a female. I'm not. Okay,
Thanks for letting us know.
Okay, yeah. Rolling that out there. But I mean, for instance, Crispy has a really good point. He says, I believe that some girl or female gamers are a bad influence or example because they do just anything, to gain followers, and that reflects badly, like, on the rest of you guys, right? So there's already a bad stigma around girl gamers, or not even just girl gamers. We'll push that one aside because people on Xbox, people on PlayStation playing in a headset being stupid, that's a whole different genre, a whole different crowd. But the people who are representative of female streamers have given a bad rap to a lot of you guys because they will come on stream wearing low-cut shirts, or I mean, I can think of one off the top of my head that wears booty shorts, and when people subscribe to her on well, no, but the point is that whenever people subscribe to her on Twitch, she walks over to her board and, like, bends over and writes their name. And it's like, no, you don't have to do that. You shouldn't have to. If that's how you get your viewers, you're worthless. Like, there's no need. Like, no offense to people, but, like, you're worthless.
I mean, it works for them. It works for them because that does sell for certain.
But it gives the rest of anyone else a bad rap, and it gives you a bad stigma around you. And so that's what my point is, that it makes it harder for you. It makes it harder for you as people who are not doing that kind of stuff. You're not wearing, all these, like I said, low cut shirts and things like that to try and get attention. So when you don't, people are like, well, all she's doing is playing a video game. What does she do? She's a little blonde. Take your shirt off or something stupid, But I mean, it's like, yeah. So it does kind of suck. I mean, I can understand that. Like I said, I don't have that personal experience, but there is a bad rap, a bad stigma already around you guys.
Right. Well, and Seven just said a good comment. She said that I almost never started streaming because of that. And I have to agree with you, Seven. I was a little fearful of streaming myself because I didn't know how people would react to me, per se. And I really didn't know what to think. And it was SnapClickCat who gave me the final boot into it, like, get in there. And I'm glad she did, because she's like, you make it what you want to make it, and you don't have to worry about what others are doing.
Yeah.
So.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Benj, what about you, buddy?
Oh man, like, when that topic was brought up before the TacoCast even started, even though it's a touchy subject, obviously, I feel like it was really good that the topic was actually brought up, because of over the years, when it comes to my experiences with social media, it's like I came from various communities, and like the viewers, they're never aware of the behind the scenes stuff that can actually be problematic. And you know, there's this tendency that ignorance, you know, results in like, you know, a lot of negative situations that makes it hard for female gamers to even make that choice to do it. And I feel like just by doing this is really good, because one of the problems that I've realized, I've been through like what, 2 or 3 different communities before Nintendo, and it's like there's this thing that I hate about the internet in general, because everybody does these things and they feel like being anonymous, you know, gives them the right to do these negative things or say these negative things. And the thing is that what people fail to realize, there is etiquette when it comes to the use of the internet. But it's like communities tend to create a culture, and that culture would dictate how you act and how you treat other people, to the point that it actually becomes toxic. And that's why it's important to value internet etiquette and be a positive role model for your viewers, because there were a lot of viewers from past communities that just are like mindless sheep, and they just fall in line with the people that they watch and enjoy.
I agree. I completely agree, going off of what you're saying, because certain communities don't have the rule set that we do. So I mean, all 6 of us have the same sort of, you know, expectations of our viewers. And because we do, our community is a little bit different and more supportive. Those guidelines make us more supportive.
Right. Yep. And it's really important to do that, because the thing that I hate to see the most is that classic comment that people say, well, if you can't handle the behavior of the culture that we created, then you need to stop using the internet. We're keyboard warriors. I mean, like, get that crap out of here.
Oh, for sure.
You know, don't need that.
For sure.
That's because you look at the way society is now. It's that behavior that makes society the way it is. I mean, look at how you have influential figures that's in all kinds of different facets, like politics and stuff like that, openly saying the things that we're against. I mean, that's why we're here now, you know?
Mm-hmm. Chadley, what about you, buddy?
Well, I'm in a weird situation, I guess. Not weird, but as you guys know, I stream with my 2 daughters, so there has been times where, not so much with Emma because she's a lot younger, and I haven't run into any problems where people make weird comments about her or disrespectful comments about her. I have had instances where things have been said that have shaken Ava pretty bad, and to the point where it's like, I don't really know how to help her with those things, because I don't run into that same type of problem as Remy or Ballin would run into, where someone just randomly comes in the chat and just starts spouting off stuff. Luckily, it's not that hard for us to click and just move on. Right. But, and again, as our communities continue to grow, our mods take care of all that stuff for us. We don't have to worry about it. And then if someone mentions it after the fact, it's like, thank you for letting me know, and thank you for allowing me to not have to see it, or not have my daughter see it, or whatever. Same with Remy and Ballin. I'm sure there's some things that they may not even know have happened, because their mods just go bloop, and they just get rid of it, because they know they don't want that in their chats and stuff. Mm-hmm. And Sean made a point. Yeah, and Sean made a good point. Like, yes, I'm not a female, but because I'm probably one of the older ones in the group, I'm one of the older people in the community that stream. I've run into things where people make comments because of my age, or because I don't have much hair on the head, and all this kind of stuff. And so, I mean, we get it too. But yes,
Right.
I feel women get it. They get it more, and I think it's mainly because the other women that do it, and it's been mentioned before by others, that the way they do it is what the mainstream people. That's the mainstream, it seems. And then when you find a woman that's going to stream and she's going to be legitimately wanting to do it the right way, appropriately, they are looked down upon because they're not doing it the way everyone else is doing it. They're not doing it because they want to be provocative and making the money that way, you know, like
Right.
they want to just have fun. They just want to be part of the community, just like us. And
Yep.
it's, I mean,
Because we're nerds.
Yeah, exactly.
No, for sure.
Exactly.
Man.
I mean, like,
Nerds.
I can tell you, like, I'm not afraid to say it. Like, I have my late night streams. Everybody knows that you pay me amount of money, I will take my shirt off. That is, you know, that is all about me. That is me. I've always been that way, like, just to push myself. Doesn't mean I do it during the day. I have my strict schedule. You guys know I have my strict schedule for nighttime stuff on Saturdays, and whatever happens during that night happens during that night. But we don't get
What happens at night stays at night.
yeah, we don't push it where I'm gonna get naked on stream, or I'm gonna. It's usually just the shirt, right? But again, I also know usually with the and see with the females, I've like Corey says, I know exactly who he's talking about, and you know, the more money she gets, the more she's gonna get more provocative, and that's where bad names comes into play with us streamers, or in this case with women streamers. Because of that, they think everybody's gonna do something for money. And again, it comes back with the guys too, because it does happen with the guys too. Whereas the only difference is they always think the guys just want money. So they're like, well, you know, I know certain streamers that do that, where they're like, oh, we need money. And then they'll do strictly streams just for money. Or I'm going to do stupid things strictly for money. And sometimes, like, I mean, for myself, I've never seen any of you guys do it. I don't like to mention donate because of this. Donate because of that. Donate because I need to do this. You know, I mentioned maybe once or twice, okay, guys, donate because of, you know, I'll be able to do this for you guys. Done. You know, maybe I'll push my sponsorship a little bit. Maybe, but there's streamers out there that all they do throughout the whole time is, oh, don't forget, if you want to scare me, you can donate. Oh, don't forget, if you want to do this, you can donate.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the same thing that happens with the females, where it's like, well, if you become a member or a sponsor and you pay me this much money a month, well, you'll get
this.
you'll get this. You'll get my personal Snapchat, and I'll send you stuff. You know,
Yeah.
and they forget it's, and I mean that same streamer that I'm pointing at Corey, that same streamer that Corey was talking about. You know, I know for a fact that she's been caught several times where the game is playing and she'll get up and sign the board, and the game is still going.
She's still going.
Yeah, she pretends to play for that reason.
She has
and
pre-recorded game footage.
you know, and it
When she plays.
yeah, when she plays.
plays.
And it sucks because then we have wonderful streamers like Ballin and Remy and SnapClickCat, and I'm gonna say, dog, I'm not afraid to say, yes, attractiveness is nice, but you forget to look at the actual gameplay to say, holy crap. For example, Golf Story. you can play it really good. I can't play Golf Story. I can't tell you. I suck at it. Remy, I was watching you play an indie game the other day. Where every time you leveled up, the game would change. I can't remember what it's called.
Equivalent.
Yeah, you were rocking that game. I've seen people stream it. They suck at it.
Hey, don't
you know?
forget that I beat you in Smash Brothers Rigo. Don't you?
You know,
Fighting words.
a perfect example. A perfect example of women streamer. Claire is a magician.
Oh my gosh,
when it
Claire.
comes to
Listen, I'm still saying she's hacking, okay?
when it comes to games like that, you know.
Amazing.
Everybody has
Too good.
Miju's extremely amazing at Splatoon.
Speaking of Miju.
You know, people don't look at the game. They're busy looking at the female, and I see it all the time. Oh, you're so beautiful, and you're like, oh, thank you. No, but you're super beautiful. No, okay, thank you. And then they keep pushing.
Shut up.
Exactly, and they keep pushing, and they keep pushing, and then eventually they raise that level to see how much they can get away with. And it sucks because sometimes you're just like, okay, can you stop? And they don't want to listen. You know. So I know, and like with Chadley's thing with the babies, I understand. Like my daughter, I like bringing her on stream and her to say thank you to people or hello to people. But I've seen the creepy comments that people have to delete for me because they can get very inappropriate.
Listen, you know you're super famous when you have to do that, though.
You know, so it sucks, and it sucks that that's how sometimes streamers are looked at. But again, it's up to us as a community to show them, hey, we're not all about that. And again, I know I do a lot of things that are inappropriate. But again, I have my time, and I don't push it. You know, it's just something like it's there. If you want to do it, it's
all right,
there.
everybody, let's get together and donate $69 to Rigo.
Oh, jeez, quiet.
See, I got the whole do not stream like persona. Like, you come to my stream. Okay, I'm Mama Remy. You come to my stream, and I know you're, and you know, of school age. I'm gonna ask you if you got your homework done. You tell me that you're in a fight with your mom. I'm gonna tell you to not talk that way. Yes. I am a mom. I'm going to be a mom, and my community is called Gildren. They're my guild children. They're my children. They're part of my community, you know? So I'm going to treat them as such. They come to me with issues. I'm going to help them with it like a mom would. So I am the most mom female streamer there is. So does that mean that I'm not going to, you know, make it?
Upside your head? Oh.
It has nothing
No,
to do
and exactly. No, exactly. And that's the
As
problem.
I tell other people, that's fine and dandy. I have thick skin. I don't care. Right. And that means I have more time for somebody else that does need it. Right. And I did want to make a comment, just because there's a certain someone in chat and I want them to hear this. I am not that way. I'm not provocative. I cover myself up. I conduct myself with honor. I play dignity, you know, with, you know, dignity. I actually play the games. I don't try to be something that I'm not. I am a female. I do know that there's people out there that like me. And if I can do it, they can do it. And hopefully other females out there, smaller, you know, girls that look up and that are impressionable, they can look at me and go, man, she's so cool. If she can do it, I can do it. I don't have to be like that. I'm going to be myself, and I'm going to do this.
There you go. Hey, well, to moms. Well, you know what's funny? Speaking of moms, and you can ask Ballin this, call her Mama Ballin, because I was there staying at her house, and I'm getting texts, right? Because I went away to stay at a friend's house, and I was getting texts, are you ready to come home? Are you okay?
But like, are you ready? I can come pick you up from your sleepover.
But I mean, and you know what? I can honestly say in our community, there are people who need that little bit of guidance, that need that, you know, a little bit of help with, oh, you know what, I'm having a rough time. Can you guys help me? And sometimes, honestly, I'm gonna be a little bit pushy, but sometimes a mom can understand better than a father can. You know, it's the honest truth, because I can only give so much advice on certain things. Yeah. And sometimes a mother's touch is what they need, and sometimes a mother, being not even their mother, a streamer, someone who can understand, can give a little bit more than I can give. And I've seen it where it's like, I can.
And the same is true for father.
Exactly.
Father
there's some things that we can answer, and there's some things that we can't, and vice versa. Yeah. So it's really just, you know, we're here, we're doing certain things, but we respect.
But that makes you a stronger parental figure, knowing when you can't help and knowing who can help them. Yeah. And even if you can't help them, you can still help them by finding somebody who can help them.
Exactly.
So even if, you know, you need a mom's touch or a father's touch, you can still direct them and help them.
Exactly.
Find that right person. Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly, Ballin.
But we will get into that more when we're scheduling some.
Fur babies count too.
Yes.
Any of those.
My
niece counts. My niece counts. Don't count her. She loves me.
We're doing a special event with some streamers, so we can get into that a little bit more when time comes, about helping the community out when that time does come. So let's go ahead and jump over. That was a really intense discussion we had there. Honestly,
we knew it was gonna be.
We knew that.
Honestly, like, I forgot to add it, right? And I was like thinking to myself, no, you know what? I'm gonna remove one, add that one, because that one's gonna be one heck of a discussion. I already knew. I had a feeling. That's why I put it before, after all the Resident Evil and stuff like that. Okay.
Love you
So-
for doing that.
Right. All right, guys. It's 10 o'clock. We have what, 30 minutes? Maybe we can push it to 11, but I think we'll go to 10:30.
Yeah, I'd rather not go to 11 if we can.
Yeah, if we
Yeah.
can save it, let's save it. So let's go ahead and go into game development failures. So, let's talk about how likely it is that an indie game is successful. Now, this is a hard one because there are a lot of indie developers. There's lots of games out there, and a lot of them get missed, and it's hard to find a bunch, and there's a lot of them that are just terrible. So, Remy, what do you got to say about seeing as you play a lot of indie games?
Yeah, okay, well, that Bob Gamer is in the chat, and like I talk to him all the time, and he gives me crap for always playing indie games. But the problem is I've played games like literally like MMORPGs like all of my life. So I got stuck playing the same game, the same thing all the time. Like it was just like this, like MMORPG, like WoW, Ion, Rift, you know, just that. So you come out and it's like, man, I want something different. And then you have all these big name titles. It's like, I don't want big name titles. I don't want the same thing. I want something completely different. And you got these little tiny indie games that are like cheap. So I can buy like 10 games for the price of like one AAA title, and I can play them, and they're great little, you know, time spenders, you know? And it's such a great game. Like the back, you know, like Evelyn, for example. The concept of that game is great. Now, the first game is not very polished, you know? Not granted, I'll give it that. But the second game is so much more polished, and it's amazing, and it's like, why isn't this game more popular? I think it's the fact that I look at indie games like smaller businesses you have in your communities. The people that know about it love it, and they try to spread the word, but it's not going to go too much far out from the indie community unless it gets someone's attention from the bigger gamer communities. But then they come in, they want to buy it, and then those people are like, no, this is my baby, I don't want to have nothing, you know, no, don't take it from me, and they don't give it up. So a lot of these indie gamers have like I want control over my project, this is mine, I'm not selling out, because they want to stay true to their roots and to the game and to the gaming community.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why they don't get as far as the AAA titles.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Ballin? What do you think?
Well, I'm pretty passionate about this topic, and I did bring it up, and I think it needs to be talked about. So I actually am a slight like a baby game developer myself, and I've been able to develop some little tiny games, and I have not released them, and I don't plan to anytime soon because now I found streaming, and it's taking up a majority of my time, to be quite honest. But I do know of many indie game developers. And I've been to a lot of like, you know, meetup groups and events that kind of shine on indie game developers. Now, I have a few friends who have been slightly successful, but it's very much a gamble to be a game developer outside of, you know, working for EA or, you know, a bigger company. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if people who play games realize how much these indie game developers need support from the community. I know of one person, well, multiple people who actually started their own business out in California, and it was a failure, a huge failure, to the point of where they lost millions of dollars. Kind of thing. They were backed by a bunch of different companies, and then they were kicked out of their own creation. Wow. And so it was their livelihood. It was everything that they had worked for years. Mm-hmm. And they lost it all. And you know, they're sitting around going, what now? Where do I go now? You know? So I don't know if people realize that these smaller games need to be played, and that, you know, yeah, there's a lot of awesome bigger games that are coming out, but don't forget about those indie game developers, because this is their livelihood. They are betting it all. Like, it's not, they're quitting jobs that would have been like a stable job, or not even taking those jobs at all in order to try and launch something that, you know, the creative aspect of that brings them joy, you know? And so I'm very much into indie games. I'm very much into making sure that you know, I'm able to play these smaller games, and I'd love to play more of them. So that was what was so great about PAX. I loved going to PAX and being able to talk to the developers like one off, like, hey, like, you know, how did you develop this game? Like, you know, just even asking them questions, and they're really excited because like, oh, somebody actually is interested in my stuff. And Rigo, I really appreciated what you did, where you walked up to each developer and got their take on things, and you recorded what they had done, and you know, it shows how much they put a lot of work into it, you know. So yeah, I mean, I feel like indie games are a huge risk, and I feel like we need to support them more as gamers. And yeah, that's my
for
thoughts.
sure. Corey, what are your thoughts, buddy?
Okay, so for those of you that have been around my channel, love indie games as well. I do love the AAAs, but I love indie games with passion. I have a huge backlog of indie games I need to cover. I have a series called First 20 that is almost entirely indie games. I've streamed a bunch of indie games and all that stuff. Now, the thing is, a lot of people don't realize that indie doesn't necessarily mean it's a studio. Like, when you think about CD Projekt Red, they're an indie developer. The Witcher 3, that's an indie game. But they looked up and got a really, like, they have done really good stuff. But yeah, I think people need to make sure that they keep an eye on it. I know, like Steffi said, they don't hold her attention. But you gotta look at them, and man, they're so, like, they're gems, and they, like, there is an indie game or a stack of 10 of them for any type of game that you're into. If any of these big platformers, you know, any of these big AAA titles, there's a stack of games, of indie games, that cost you that will probably run you under $10, you know, on any given console. And there's just so many of them. And if I buy a game for $10 and it doesn't, I don't care. You know, it's not that big a deal. But I love supporting the indie developer as a developer, not a game developer, but as a developer. I understand. I know that they have to be supported. Not in the same situation, don't get me wrong, but I understand that they do have to be supported because, like you said, they're betting everything on it. I've been talking to a lot of indie developers, and seeing how, like, one indie developer and his girlfriend, they've been hopping from country to country in Europe and staying at super cheap places so they can develop while using all the money from Kickstarter to that, rather than on rent and on a house. And it's just, it's so interesting. Yeah, when you don't know. I mean, you just don't know, like, what they're going through. And I mean, I'm not saying probably struggling means you have to buy every game, you know, but think about that next time you go, well, I don't want this game because it's an indie game. But think about, well, this probably one to 5 people worked on this game, you know. There's a good chance a tiny little team worked on this and put everything they had into it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, anyways, I love it. It's definitely need to be supported and
What about you, Benj?
Dude, ever since I've done streaming and learned about the whole indie gaming scene, because I didn't know much about it, but occasionally I learned a bit more as you know, the streaming journey began. And you know, like Ball and Chain, you know, Mama Remy and Corey is saying, they literally put their heart and soul into these games. And to give you a little proof of that is the experience that I had with Yakuza, a video game developer team. They are really passionate about their games. Like, they're so passionate to the point where, in order to get their name out there, they would openly take input from other people. You know, I actually worked alongside with Yakuza on their game Epic Moon, and they actually wanted my input on one of the the early demo builds. And the fact that they wanted my input, and I gave them that input, and then they literally gave me the finished product, and I streamed it, and I saw that they literally took all of the things that I talked about into account was freaking
That's pretty
amazing. One more point that I would bring up with gaming is that passion, right?
Mm-hmm.
One big problem with the gaming industry as of right now, especially as the years go by, when you look at all of the big, well-known game developers, they started off small too. And they got bigger because they took those risks and they came up with new titles and new visions.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is, as they get bigger and they have this huge fan base, the demand of the fan base has occasionally dictates what the developers have to create and push out.
Yeah, it kills creativity sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. It kills the creativity, and that's where indie gaming comes. They're the ones that actually have no problem trying to bring out new ideas. And the problem is sometimes those ideas will be seen and sometimes they don't. And that's where streamers, content creators come in to actually show off this stuff and let people know about it. And here's one thing that I noticed that really was super awesome. I'm a fanboy and fangirl of the Streets of Rage franchise. And the most amazing thing happened. This is a game made by Sega. And you're telling me that indie game developers and publishers came together to literally get their hands on them and bring it back to life? That is huge, in my opinion. And it's very exciting to see what they're doing with it, to the point where their presentation was so different. I mean, the color is vibrant. I mean, I'm not a graphics guy, but the fact that they really went out of their way to bring a whole new presentation, bring new life into something so old, was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't show a lot of gameplay, but they showed enough to the point where I was like, holy crap, this is gonna be dope. I mean, because I feel like they're adding juggle mechanics in it now. I was like, no way. They actually put that in there. The visuals is great. They didn't share much, but they said that there's additional characters on the way. So the fact that you got indie game developers literally taking a franchise that, is not even messed with anymore, gives me this feeling that this is why indie games is so important, because they're always bringing in fresh and that's the beauty of them. So I really love this topic because they're the guys that's actually going to help gaming be more interesting again.
Chadley, what about you, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have that much experience playing indie games. There's a lot of them that I see that I would love to have the opportunity to play, but then you always run into that where the money of trying to come up with money to justify paying for any game, really, especially with the size of family that I have. But no, I mean, there's plenty of indie games that have come through that I've seen that I would really love to try and hope that I would have time to play at some point. I like how Venge brought up that even the bigger companies, they started small, and it's like anything Remy said about small businesses. I love that analogy too, where there's the big business and the small business. A lot of times those small businesses, they thrive on the community that surrounds them. So if you have a computer repair shop, for example, it's a small mom and pop shop, there's people that will always gravitate to that type of shop because they want to support the smaller businesses in the community. They want to see them succeed. And I think that's where we come in. We can help those indie developers succeed because we are the community that they want to be a part of, that they want to get their games in, because we will be showing these games to people that may have never heard of this indie developer before, or maybe this is their first game they've ever developed, and if we are giving them a shot, our community is more likely to give them a shot too, because they're going to see, as all 6 of us are very good at showing how we enjoy the game we're playing. Like, I'm not just going to play a game just to play a game. Like, I usually play games that I want to play, that I find enjoyment or find interest in.
Mhm.
So yeah, like, yeah.
No, I know exactly what you're saying. Like, let's take Mr. Undertale for a second. Everybody was telling me, you have to stream it, you have to stream it, you have to try it. It was something that wasn't calling my attention, but I figured I've been asked so much, I'm gonna give it a try. I played it and love the game. The game is amazing. Now, it's not what most people play a lot of indie games or games like that. They bring it up to way up here. You know, I tried it. It is up here. It is a good game, but it's not to the extent that people make it sound to be. Sometimes they play it a little bit, or they theorize a lot about it, overly theorizing it. You know what I mean? Where it doesn't mean exactly what they mean. But the game itself is amazing. Cuphead, for example, I got that, and that game was amazing as well. I really enjoyed that game. Really hard, but I really enjoyed that game. Now, I've seen people play like other games like Celeste, and that game's really calling my attention. I've never played it.
Do it.
I want to play it.
Play it. Do it.
You know, there's a lot of games out there. Talking about indies, though, there are also, we can't forget, there are bad sides to indie. We do have some indie developers that are all about cash grab, and you got other platforms. Perfect example would be Steam, that do this whole green light thing, and they let you try the game and you pay for it. It costs you 20 bucks or 10 bucks or 11 bucks, whatever it would cost you. And then sometimes those games I don't know if you guys heard that, but anyways,
I did.
Sometimes they don't even see the light of day because they never get completed. They get the money and they leave, you know. And it sucks because there is bad side to indie developing. Just as anything else, there's always a dark side.
Right.
Going
on to that.
Join
point,
the dark side.
That company.
It
Yeah,
has
exactly.
cookies.
You know, and it sucks because it sucks that there are people, and that's why a lot of people are so scared to help indie developers, because of, again, it comes down.
It's an upfront investment.
Yeah, it comes
That's
back
what
to
it is.
streaming, right? There are bad streamers and there are good streamers. There are bad communities, there are good communities. It's a chance you take. That's how I look at it.
Wait, there are good communities?
I know, right? But myself, I can tell you, I am one of those people. I'm so iffy with indie games. I'm always so scared to buy them. I always just wait for people to play them, and then I decide from there, it might be worth it.
So you're saying you're gonna make me take the fall? It's like, oh, you get it first.
Basically, yeah. No, I'm gonna be honest. Basically, yes. I will let everybody else fall
Right,
before
just clear that
I
up.
try a game, because it scares me. Because it's I've been dinged twice, and that's whoa. Thank you, Steffi, for 15 bucks. It's a must. Get it, boy.
There you go.
Everyone, hashtag
It's a
Steffi.
must get it, boy.
I say get it. Get it. It's an amazing game. And if
But-
you have an Xbox One, it's free on Xbox.
Oh, there you go. But I don't have it. I don't have one, but yeah.
Get one. It'll be cheaper to buy it on a console.
But yeah, but then we have like again, going back to indie, there's a lot of indie developers out there that do deserve some praise and do deserve, and because of that overshadowing type situation, they don't see the light of day. Like one of the games that I didn't even, and I was at Ferran's house when this happened. We saw a game that looked like Mega Man, and we're like, hey, let's try it. We bought the game, turned out to be really good. It's called 20XX.
Oh my god, it's
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite games.
Good.
So
Bad.
we
God.
tried
It's on my
it.
list.
You know,
I
we
need to
tried
buy
it.
it.
We grabbed it. It turned out to be
Amazing.
co-op. It turned out to be super
Online
amazing.
co-op and
Yeah,
everything.
and
It's
and
so fun.
so yeah, I mean, again, sometimes you find these gems that you're just like, what? You know, so yeah, there you go. That's my 2 cents on indie development. Again, it's definitely something we need to support,
Battery
because
staple
some
games for the win.
not everybody thinks
Yeah.
everybody thinks indie developers as only side scrollers, and they forget there are some
Crispy.
there's some amazing graphically, story, pixely, whatever you decide to do, but there are some amazing indie developers out there that they do need to support, and we do need to support them. There you go. Okay guys, this is the last question we have. It's not a big one, it shouldn't take too long, so here it comes. Rumors of SNES games coming to Switch. How will this affect the success of the SNES Classic? And do you think this... Well, again, Nintendo did announce that was it for the SNES Classic and the NES, so they're not selling them anymore. But do you think this will affect the success of the SNES Classic? So let's start with Remy. Go ahead.
Okay, first off, I'm kind of torn between this question. I've got two sides. So I've got the side that thinks it's a complete, utter, like, it's stupid. Why release certain games on a thing and then later release them on a console, you know, unless you're going to make the games different. And then it's like, okay, well then it's dumb, because if you want to play one classic game, then you're going to have to buy the Switch, but you don't like the game, you know, but then you don't want to spend all the money on the Switch. You just want to buy, you know, the classic because it's cheap and you can play all your old favorite. You know, it's something to do in your spare time. It's not as big as cost-wise as the console.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you can be done with it. And then I've got the other part of me that thinks like, oh man, that's so great, because if you separate it, the exact thing that I said earlier, you can pay like 40, 50, however many dollars it's going to be to play a few of these classics that you remember playing growing up, and you don't have to spend all this money on this big console. And, you know, so you're not spending a lot of money to play your old favorites. But then, at the same time, because they're releasing it on the Switch, a lot of these younger kids are going to be like, man, what's this game? And then parents will be like, hey, I played that game when I was your age. Maybe we can play it together, or I can show you how to play it, or I can help you. So they're taking that age generation gap from retro gaming, from the old games to the newer consoles, and they're bringing people together and making that game relevant and great again. So whereas I feel like at certain points it's really dumb, at other points it's really great, and I feel like they kind of balance each other out, so I don't know where I stand on that. Just those are my key points. So
For sure. Ballin, what about you?
So I'm thinking that they're probably not going to any kind of, I mean, I could be wrong about this. They already did release Nintendo Online stuff and did the NES games that were, I think some of them were on the NES Classic, if I remember right. But I think they're going to try and hold off on releasing the SNES games until the production of the SNES Classic is completely done.
Which it is, I'm pretty sure.
Is it completely? Well,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
they said that about NES Classic, and then they redid it. They did a second
run. That's, I mean,
they did a second run, yeah. So I think if they decide to do a second run of the SNES Classic, which I know that they came out with more, there was less of the NES Classics, and then they did the second run of it. So I don't know if they're going to do like a second run of SNES Classics in order to try and get as much money as they possibly can off of it. But until it becomes to a point where it's not profitable for them to sell the SNES Classic, I think they'll hold off and then they'll release it, is my thought process. I don't know. We'll see. But I mean, it comes down to money.
Yeah,
it's not like it's not like it's going to take that much for them to release it on Switch, or, you know, it's more of like production for the SNES Classic. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
Yep. Corey, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I think it's sooner than later, quite honestly, because, like I said, the run for the SNES Classic is technically over. They produced a large amount of SNES Classics. I found them in store today. I found them at Walmart. I found 3 or 4 of them the other day. So it's not like they're hard to find right now. So I don't feel like they did a second run of the NES Classic because they didn't make enough NES Classics the first time, for whatever reason. And so these games coming to the Switch Online app, it's gonna stop. I'm sure it's not gonna be the NES games anymore. It's gonna be whatever. I think it's a good thing though, because as people keep stating in the chat, it's an alternative. So there's definitely a point to be made, like Remy said, about like people not necessarily wanting to have to buy a Switch to be able to play said game or whatever. But I don't think that they will, and I don't think that they have to cater to that thought process, right? I think what they're going to cater to is people might buy it for that, or people already have it, and they're going to want to be able to play these games on the Switch at almost no additional charge. And so I think that that's where they're probably going to go, because again, really don't have to cater to that as a business. They don't. It'd be nice if they kind of kept it like, oh well, these people bought this, so like we don't want to kind of like make them feel bad because they bought the classic and now other people are getting these games for almost nothing. But they're not. That's not where they have to think. Their thinking is, we're going to make money.
Yeah. We're
going to entice people to the online service, because all they got right now is you can play games online and you get the NES games.
Yep.
There's no enticing them with, oh, we have dedicated servers, because they don't. Anything like that. So it's those two things, and adding SNES games to it only entices people more. Entices different. To me, the NES games are worthless. I think they're cool. It's fun, but I didn't grow up with NES.
Yep.
SNES is where it's at for me. When
that lag, though. Let's talk about that lag.
Everyone says that.
It's fun, though. It's fun.
Offline, there's no lag. Online, I've played plenty of times. I played online with people in other countries across the world, and of course there was lag. But again, dedicated servers would fix that. We know that's not happening. But anyways, yeah, I mean, to me, adding them to the library is only a win, ultimately. There's only, 20 games, 25 games, whatever that came SNES Classic. So, like, that's just a fraction of the library, anyway. To keep them separated is still that's a small, tiny amount, anyway. You can't count the fact that people can add all their stuff on it, because that's not the intention. Yeah. So, I think it's a great thing. I think that's awesome. I hope they do it. I think it'll be sooner than later. There's people found code kind of referencing it. They didn't find code showing it, but they found stuff referencing it. So, who knows? Maybe it's already in the works.
Yeah.
And I'm done. My rant over.
Venge, what do you think?
Should I go now, or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I didn't know if I had to wait. Okay. So, for the most part, it's not really that big a deal, but I honestly feel like, based on the pattern, the trend that's been going on, especially with, them getting rid of destroying every, like, ROM site that there is and on demand. I mean, it only makes sense for them to do that. Like, make sure to add these games on the Switch using the NES app that they have on there. Because, I mean, come on. Like, it's funny. The ROM sites has been around way back since I was in high school. That was a long time.
Yeah.
So to just decide to just dox all of them now, when it's like there has to be some meaning behind that, because I mean, it was like they never cared about it before, and now all of a sudden they care about it. So they better be doing something, because I mean, as much as like I enjoyed the NES games that I played on there, NES is not enough, realistically, especially since there's so many people out there that are more fond of the SNES era and up, because people always talked about Super Mario World, Super Mario 64. That's way down the line if they even go that far. But they don't say much about the NES games at all. Half the people would be like, Super Mario Bros, like the first one, nah. Mario 3.
But they're such good games.
I know, but
they are good games, for sure.
The problem is, you have a lot of people that wasn't around during that era, so it's like if they wasn't around during that era, they may not care that much about it. And I feel like that's what's going on with that, so they better do something. I mean, it would be a huge benefit to them if they was to take these games and put it on that, like, NES app some kind of way, because that would make people care more about a bit more about the online service, because they're actually providing something more unique to the table.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just benefits them if they do.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Chadley, what are your thoughts, buddy?
Yeah, it's inevitable. I mean, it's going to happen. The Nintendo's not going to pass up on that opportunity, especially like what Vin said. Most of the people that would play those retro type games, they're going to be more enticed to play SNES games more so than the NES games, just because of the way they looked.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the games like Super Mario World, for example, is you could play that today and still have so much fun with it. And I think it has to do, again, like when we were talking about indie developers. A lot of indie developers are just styling their games in the same style as classic retro 16-bit games, not 8-bit. I mean, you find some that are styled in 8-bit, but 16-bit was like that was everybody's, like everyone enjoyed those games because they were more colorful. They were able to do more things with those games than what you could do with NES or Atari or ColecoVision or Intellivision. Like all the older stuff that came out that was like first gen, very limited on what they could do with the programming of the games. And then when the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis came out, like it was such a big jump. I feel games were just so much better, and people still enjoy those games today. So yeah, so I think once Super Nintendo hits, it's gonna be, people are gonna be more excited about those games coming to the Switch than the NES games.
Yeah,
especially if they can fix the lag, because I'm assuming they're gonna want to have these games be online multiplayer as well. So if they can resolve the lag issues and it's not nearly as bad as it is for the NES games, like, yeah, people are going to really enjoy the fact that those SNES games are coming out.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. No, I agree. Yes, indeed. I think that, it was going to happen. We all knew it was going to happen. I'm sure there's some people who are like, oh, I bought the SNES Classic for nothing. But, I mean, we're looking at, like, it's like Chadley said. Everybody always references those type of game models, when you look for games. And I think that, yeah, I mean, me personally, I think it'd be cool because if they can fix the issue of the online, well, let's face it, they would need dedicated servers for that. We all know this. Imagine playing online again, your favorite games, whatever game it might be, I don't know. But side by side, and you're playing online. That's cool. I like that. I like that idea. But again, it's gonna happen. We just don't know when. And again, I would like for them to mainly focus on getting those dedicated servers because I would like to play smoothly. But that's what it is. All right, guys. Well, it is 10:33. That is all the questions. Unfortunately, we couldn't take any viewer questions because we have no time. We ran out of time. There was so much to talk about. Next month, guys, we will be doing our TacoCast again. I don't think there's any secret holidays that I don't know about coming up. No. So yes, thank you all for joining us today. I super appreciate it. Thank you, Remy. Thank you, Ball and Chain, for joining us, for accepting my offer of coming in. So I really appreciate that. So thank you very much. Guys, thank you all again for joining us. Take care. But before we leave, I almost forgot. We have 38 people watching. We need to do an epic raid. We need to find someone that we can raid. So let's go ahead and take a look who's streaming so we can give them this epicness of a raid right now.
Let's do a small streamer because I love the reactions.
Oh, I love the reactions too.
I think it's about time.
Because
I have one.
They break.
Do you have
when
one?
They see those big numbers.
I do have one.
I got somebody with 3 people watching.
She's I have one that has 6, and she's doing. Looks like she's doing Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Go for it. I know who you're talking about. I think we should go.
Wait, who is it?
Do so confidently.
Yep, Christina.
Yep. Christina, yeah.
Do so confidently.
Yeah.
I'll just copy it and put it in the chat.
Yep, we need to go for her.
Had to do it.
So first off, what's our hashtag going to be
we need the
before I put the
hashtag.
link? We got to do the hashtag before we do the link because everybody will start going over there.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. What do you think? Hashtag taco? No, she won't know TacoCast.
I don't think you've ever been here for this.
So should we do hashtag? I don't know.
Just do TacoCast and we
Yeah,
can
just do
explain it to her.
TacoCast.
All right, we'll
TacoCast.
explain. Okay, hashtag TacoCast. So let me grab the link here. I found her.
We'll just explain to her.
All right. What we have to do? Give me a second here. Let me set up something quickly, because I want to see her reaction. I'm sure most people want to see her reaction as well. This should be.
She will, exactly.
As Venge turns into
Zero.
turns into smoke over there.
Okay, guys.
Finish him.
Are you ready? So if you want to throw the link out now,
All right.
and I'll turn up her volume, and let's go ahead and
Of course,
give her a nice
me,
big raid.
With my personality, I
Ready?
never
Get
know
over
when the
there.
holiday is.
All right, guys, let's do
The
it.
first thing to do is locate snow.
Let's raid. Hashtag TacoCast.
Okay, there's snow. So we have snow.
Do it.
Let's do it.
Guys, make sure you're not just copying it into this chat. Go.
And we have the right snow peak. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
TacoCast. TacoCast.
Oh,
Hey
no.
guys, welcome Raiders.
Look at that.
How
Hold
y'all
Oh, look at the
doing?
numbers jump. Look at the numbers jump.
Amazing.
No, that's
Hey
powerful.
Chadley. All right.
That's
Okay, I was
all
trying to figure out. I don't know who TacoCast is. I don't think. Maybe I do. I'm not sure.
Look
Actually, I
at
probably
that.
do. It might have been one of the
Holy
most
free
recent
holiday.
people I've visited. Welcome, Raiders. I don't get raided often. I don't know what to do with this. Hi. We've been at this for 3 hours. So the basement is actually
Wow,
in the
that's
chat
lit.
today. The basement is another channel.
Ooh, Mr. B.
There he is. His channel, one of his viewers came up with a challenge where you run. I am going to. Oh no! Don't.
No, there's no way I
Not.
would do that, Sir
Don't do
Nigel.
that.
I
6
would never
Raiders.
do that.
Oh my gosh, Chadley, what'd you do? I blame you. Oh look, there's Crispy Plays. There's Bald Gamer. All right, let's see here. Who else? There's Spanishdude. I recognize Venge. All right, welcome guys. Holy cow. I was gonna say there's DZ Gamer.
Gamer.
Yes, I know.
love
I know
it.
DZ. There's 7. Chadley. Welcome guys. I do not now. Just so you know, that
She's
those of you
overwhelmed.
coming
I
in,
love
I
it.
don't have chat bot on my Mac, so you're not going to see
Wow.
yourselves come up if you like or if you
More people
subscribe
still
or anything
going.
like that. I just
Yep,
I don't
still
have it.
going.
I don't think I've ever had over 100.
GG, guys. GG.
23 watching. That is definitely one of my
Oh,
highest.
crap. That's
Hi. I don't.
7. Everyone blames me for everything.
Love
So.
it.
Right? That's how it works.
incredible.
We're up to 32 watching. That's
Mama
fantastic.
Baby, Oh,
That's
there's Ball
incredible.
Chain and myself doing a
Holy
podcast.
crap.
Wow. Hi, guys. My
All right, guys. Thank you all for throwing all that love, giving her. We shocked her. Definitely shocked her. It's nice when we get to do that. That's what I love about podcast time. The big raids, the big raids. All right, guys. Thank you all for joining. I super appreciate it. Thank you again, Chadley, Venge, and Corey for joining me again in another episode. Thank you again, Remy and Balanchen. I hope I get to have you guys on again. We had some great conversations.
Yes.
Thank you all for joining. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that sub button. Guys, if you are interested in any of these beautiful streamers, in the description below is all their links. Go sub to them if you haven't already. And if you
Gosh, you
have,
can't call them beautiful. Jeez, we were just talking about this.
go give everyone some love. Thank you all very much for joining us. Take care,
everyone.
guys. Have a good one. And don't forget the
See you
most
later,
important thing in the
everybody.
whole wide world. Come to my live
Come to
stream.
my
I'm
live stream.
super
I'm super
famous.
famous.
Take care, guys. Have a good one. Bye.